Very good morning, friends. Very good morning to all of you. In the last session, we started with process costing, wherein we discussed in detail all the concepts relating to process costing. So we discussed what is process costing, further how to prepare the basic account of process costing. Thereafter, we discussed what is normal loss, what is abnormal loss and abnormal gain, wherein we discussed abnormal loss account also, abnormal gain account also, normal loss account also. And we discussed 2-3 practical questions also for the practice purpose. So if you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can ask me. Else we'll start with the full-fledged questions. So now there are a few queries. Very good morning to all of you. Akash Neil, why the scrap value of normal loss being deducted and abnormal loss, abnormal gain in the income statement given under. I'll be discussing illustration one by one. Akash Neil. CMA Yogita. So now I'll be starting with the full-fledged question. I think if you guys have any queries, you guys can repost it. Else we'll start with the practical questions, wherein I'll be starting with example number 4 of my material. Similar question is there in the study material also. So I request whatever the queries you have in the last session, you guys can ask me. Yes, Tanishka Agarwal, I just got your message. Very good morning, my dear. Very good, Madhuri. Similar question is there in study material also. I'll tell you guys the question number of the study material. 1 second. Similar question is there in study material illustration number 3. And from my module, it is practice question number 4. Very good, Manthanjali. I am discussing illustration number 3, Akash Neil. So guys, now without wasting any time, let's start with illustration number 3. RST Limited processes product Z through 2 distinct process first and process second. On completion, it is transferred to finished stock. From the following information for the current year, prepare process first account, process second account, and finished stock account. Particulars are given wherein the raw material used, raw material cost per unit, transfer to the next process is given. Normal loss on input is given. Direct wages are given. Direct expenses is 60% of the direct wages, and so on for the process second. Further, manufacturing overheads are also given. Realizable value of scrap per unit is given. 6,000 of finished goods were sold at a profit of 15% cost. Assume there was no opening and closing stock of work in progress. So guys, let's start with one full-fledged question, that is illustration number 3 of the study material, and question number 4 of what the notes what I have provided. So let's start with process first account. Units and amount. So raw material is given 7,500 units. And it was paid at the rate of 60 per unit. So this is 4,50,000. Further, direct wages are given, that is 135,750. $135,750. Further, the direct expenses are 60% of direct wages. So 135,750 into 60%, that is 81,450. Manufacturing overhead are 20% of direct wages. So 135,750 into 20%. So this is 27,150. Further, the normal loss is 5% of input. So we'll write by normal loss 5% of input, that is 7,500 into 5%, that is 375. Further, the scrap value of the normal loss is also given, that is 12.5, that is to be deducted. So 4687.5. We'll write 4687 only. As we can write 4688 also. Both the approaches are correct. Alternatively, you can write 4687.5 also. All the approaches are correct. Thereafter, the output that we are getting is to be transferred to next process. That is process second, which is given in the question, that is 7,050. So let's check that whether it is abnormal loss or abnormal gain. The total input that was made is 7,500 minus 5% is the normal loss. So we were expecting an output of 7,125. However, when talking about the actual output, it was 7,050 only. So there is an abnormal loss of 75 units. Now, very simple way, whatever the total cost that is incurred minus the scrap value is to be apportioned among abnormal loss and the output that is to be transferred to the next process. So let's calculate the cost per unit. Wherein the total cost incurred is 4,50,000 plus 135,750 plus 81,450 plus 27,150, that is 694,350 minus the scrap value, that is 4,688, divided by my expected output, that is 7,500 minus 375. So the final figure will be 96.7947. So this is the cost of good unit. Now this multiplied by 75 will be the value of abnormal loss. So this is how process first account is to be prepared. Very good, everybody. Hitesh Jain, Akash Neel, Vikas Bansal. This is how process first account is to be prepared. For your reference, I will be preparing abnormal loss account also. When talking about abnormal loss to process first, it will be 75 minus 7260. Assuming these 75 units are scrapped in the market at the rate of 12.5. So buy bank 75 into 12.5. That is 938. So balance amount that will be transferred to costing P&L. $6,322. This is all what about process first account. If you guys have any queries in this account, you guys can ask me. This is all what we have discussed till now. So it's just a practice question wherein we'll be covering all the concepts that we have discussed till now. Still, if you have any queries, you guys can ask me. Let's start with the preparation of process second account. $75 into 12.5, this 938 is basically 75 into 12.5, my dear. We will assume that the abnormal loss of 75 unit will also be scrapped in the market at the rate of 12.5. There is a query from Poonam Sharma sir. Normal loss account, you can prepare it in a very simple way. That is, in normal loss account, it will be to process with this amount and buy bank with the same amount. That's it. Nothing more than that. But yes, if it is an abnormal gain, then there will be a slight change in normal loss account. I repeat again, Poonam Sharma, when talking about normal loss account, it will be to process first account 375.4688, and the same units are scrapped in the market at the same price, so buy bank with the same amount. That's it. I'll be discussing income statement also. Okay, Archie Gupta, this is the total cost, that is 4,50,000 plus this amount plus this amount plus this minus 4,688. So this is how I got 694,350. It is the total. It is the total cost minus the scrap value. I'll be discussing the income statement, Riddhi, don't worry. So now let's start with the next part, that is let's prepare process second account, wherein the output of process first is transferred to process second account. So to process first, that is 7050682402. Now further expenditures are incurred in the next process, that is the direct wages is 129,250. Further direct expenses are 65% of direct wages. Sixty-five percent of direct wages, so this will be 84013. Further, the manufacturing overhead are 15% of the direct wages. $193. So this is the total cost that is incurred till now. Further, it is given that the normal loss is 10% of the input. So this will be 705. It is given that in process second, the normal loss will be 10% of the input. Sushil Kumar Bank, this is illustration number 3 of the study material and question number 4 of the module what I have provided. Further, the scrap value realized is 37.5. So 26437. Now let's check the output also, how much output we are getting. So by here in the output of the process second is to be transferred to finished stock account. It is given that there are only 2 processes involved. Further, it is given on completion it is transferred to finished stock account. So by finished stock account, further the output that we are getting is 6525 units. So let's check whether there is abnormal loss or abnormal gain. So 7050 minus 10%. We were expecting an output of 6,345 units. However, we got 6525 units. It means what? There is an abnormal gain of 180 units. So now let's calculate the cost of good units. That is the total cost that is incurred till date, that is 682,402 plus 129,250 plus 84013 plus 19387. Minus the scrap value that is realized is 26. Divided by 7050, the input minus the normal loss, that is 705. $6,345. So we will get the cost per unit, that is 888,615 divided by 6,345. So we'll get the cost per unit as 140.0496. So now let's multiply this by 6525. So here it will get 913,824, that is 6525 into 140.0496, that is 913,824. This will be 25209. So this is how we have calculated the cost per unit. Further, we'll prepare abnormal gain account and normal loss account. Normal loss will be 2 process second, that is 705,26437. Abnormal gain will be by process second. The units are 180 and 25209. Now, as I told you guys, when talking about the actual units that are sold in the market, it is not 705. It is 705 minus 180. So what is basically abnormal gain? The saving in the normal loss. So we will adjust these 180 units. I repeat again, what is normal? What is abnormal gain? The saving in the normal loss. So we'll adjust the abnormal gain units 180. Further, the scrap value on 180 is how much? 180 into 37.5. That is 6750. So only the balance unit, that is 705 minus 180 units, that is 525 units will be sold in the market at the rate of 37.5. So that this will be 19687. When talking about abnormal gain, the units that are adjusted in normal loss is 180 and 6750. So balance amount will be transferred to costing P&L, and that will be so 18459. So if you guys have any queries in normal loss, abnormal gain, process second account, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. Very good, Akash Neil. Preeti, can you please help me out with your confusion? Very good, Hitesh Jain. I'll be discussing this part, Ankur. Very good, Jayanti. Anyone else having any doubts? I request you guys, I think in study material, they have not prepared abnormal loss and abnormal gain account. So I request you guys to please copy these statements. I request you guys to please prepare these, please copy these accounts. The same is not there in the study material. Giving you 2 minutes time to copy these accounts. Further, those who have queries can please ask me. Most of the student has solved this illustration in the class itself. So very good, guys. Yes, Hitesh Jain, when talking about abnormal gain, see, it will always be adjusted against normal loss. Just think it practically, my dear, that there is a normal loss of 705 units. Yes, 705 units is the normal loss. But are these units actually sold in the market? No. The actual units that are sold in market is only 525 because there is an effective scrap of 525 units only, Hitesh. I request you guys to please copy at least these 3 accounts. Very good, Tanishka. See, when talking about normal loss and abnormal gain account, I have already discussed this part in detail, but still few students are finding it difficult. So see, guys, the normal loss is 705,264,437. Now, as discussed in the last class, what is abnormal gain? It's a saving in the normal loss. So here in my normal loss is 705 units. However, my abnormal gain is of 180 units. It means what? The effective units that are sold in the market is only 525 units at the rate 37.5. So when talking about abnormal gain account, it is by process second 180 units, 25209. Now, some part is already adjusted against normal loss. So the balance amount that is our profit, we will show it into costing P&L account. When talking about process first normal loss account, it's very simple. So I hope it is clear now. So when there is an abnormal gain, the normal account loss account is very simple. That is 2 process account 375 4688, and the actual units that are sold in the market in case of normal loss is 375 units only. Very good, Rafika. Very good, Preeti. Yes, Archie Gupta, 705 is what? 10% of 7050. Very good, Miss Sana. Pooja, I've already explained abnormal gain once again. I request you guys to please copy these accounts. The same is not there in the study material part. Sir, the video is lagging or what? Admin sir? Admin sir, are you there? I request you guys to please refresh your internet connection. There are no issues from our end. I hope I am visible and audible to all. Now guys, I'll be erasing this part because I need more space to prepare finished stock account and income statement, as many students are facing problem in the income statement. So let's start with finished stock account first. The input that is received from process second, that is 6525. So 2 process second, 6525 units, and the value as calculated is 9,13,824. So 9,13,824. Now further, in the question it is given, that 6,000 units were sold in the market. So 6,000 units will be transferred to costing P&L as cost of sales, and the balance 5,000 units will remain in stock, that is balance CD 525. So 6,000 units will be valued at 140.0496. Admin sir, please mute. 6,000. Okay. I think sir has joined the session. So 840298. 840298 represents the value of the cost of sales, and balance 525 units, the value will be sorry, 7352. So this will be the value of closing stock left out with us. So this is how finished stock account is to be prepared, wherein the units that are sold will be transferred to costing P&L, and the balance unit will be left out in stock as closing balance, that is balance CD. Very good, Hitesh Jain. So now let's proceed for the last part of the question, that is income statement. It's nothing but a costing P&L account, wherein we'll first transfer cost of sales, that is 840298, by sales. It is given in the question that these units are it is given in the question that these units are sold at a profit of 15% on cost. So 840, the profit on 15% on cost. So 840298 plus 15%. So this will be 966,343. Apart from this, here in abnormal loss account, certain amount is to be transferred to costing P&L. So to abnormal loss, 6322. Further, some amount is to be transferred to costing P&L from abnormal gain also. So by abnormal gain, $18,459. Very good, guys. So balance amount will be your net profit, and that will be $138,182. So this is the complete question, wherein we discussed, we revised what we have discussed in the last session, wherein we discussed process first account, abnormal loss account, normal loss account if there is an abnormal loss. Apart from this we discussed process second account. Here there was an abnormal gain, so we prepared normal loss and abnormal gain account separately. Thereafter, we discussed finished stock account, wherein the output of process second is to be transferred to finished stock account. Further, it is given in the question clearly that 6,000 units were sold. It means 6,000 units will be transferred to cost of sales and balance unit will be left out in stock as closing balance, that is by balance CD. Now, when talking about income statement, this cost of sales is to be transferred to income statement. Further, we will calculate the sales, that is, it is given in the question that the profit is 15% on the cost. So the cost is 840,298. Apart from this, we will add profit 15% to get the sales value, that is 966,343. Now, talking about these two amounts, we have already done the exercise wherein we have calculated the amount to be transferred to costing P&L if there is an abnormal loss. Further, the amount to be transferred to costing P&L when there is an abnormal gain. So this is all what about income statement. I hope few students were having queries in income statement. So hopefully your queries are resolved. So whatever the queries you have, you guys can ask me. The question is all over. Very good, Janesha. Very good, Hitesh Jain. Very good, Shivani. That's great, Shivam Singh. Very good, Shivani. Yes, Madhuri. For every process account, we have to prepare separate abnormal loss account and abnormal gain. However, if there is an abnormal loss, no need to prepare normal loss account. But yes, if it is abnormal gain, you have to prepare normal loss account. Very good, Kanishka. Very good, Poonam. Anyone else having any queries? I'll start with the next part of the chapter. This is all what we have discussed in the session, in the last session in detail. So this is just like a practice or quick recall of what we have discussed till now. Still, anyone having any queries can ask me. Vikas Bansal, since the question is asking us to prepare an income statement, that's why we have prepared. If the question is silent, no need to prepare income statement. Yes, Akash Neel, well said. Sorry. Thank you so much, Preeti. Yes, Mr. Suyog Joshi, when talking about income statement, it's just like a normal account. We do prepare an accounts wherein we record the sales, we record the cost. Apart from this, if there is any abnormal gain and abnormal loss account, it will also be recorded. So Sushil Kumar Bang, when talking about this amount 18,459, it is this income statement is more like a cost. It is only costing P&L account only. So here and see the balancing figure that we have transferred to costing P&L, that is 18,459 is only transferred to costing P&L. Hopefully, Sushil, you are clear with what I have said. Anyone else? Else, we'll start with the next part of the chapter, that is wherein a particular process transfer to the next process, output not on cost but on profit. Those who want to copy this part can please copy. That's great. So guys, now we are done with the basics of process costing, wherein we discussed how to prepare process account, how to prepare normal loss account, abnormal loss account, and abnormal gain account. This question was more for practice because we have discussed all the concepts in detail. So we have compiled all the concepts in this question. Now let's proceed further with the next part of the chapter. That is where, in case if the output of a particular process is transferred to next process on not on cost but on profit. If a particular process transfers to the next process not on cost but on profit, cost plus profit, that is on selling price. So let's start, guys, with the next question of a material wherein interprocess profit is involved. I'm discussing example number 7 of my material. Similar question is there in the study material also. For your reference, I'll just give you the question number. I'm discussing illustration number 6 of the study material, and of the notes I have provided, it is example number 7. So let's start, guys. I repeat again, we are done with the basic part of the chapter. Now we are discussing a question wherein output of a particular process is transferred to next process at market value. That is cost plus profit, not on cost. Earlier we were discussing the question wherein the output of a particular process is transferred to next process on cost. But herein the output is transferred to next process on market value, that is cost plus profit. So how to account the same? So guys, let's start with example number 7. It's a very easy question. Example number 7 of the material what I have provided, and the similar question is there in the study material, that is illustration number 6. So let's start, guys, with illustration number 6 of the material, study material. A Limited produces product AXC, which passes through 2 processes before it is completed and transferred to finished stock. The following data relates for the month of October, wherein opening stock is given, material is given, wages, factory overhead, closing stock is given, inter-process profit included in opening stock is given. Further, output of process first is transferred to process second at 25% profit on transfer price. So herein the output is not transferred at cost, but it is transferred at some selling price or some market value, that is cost plus profit element. Further, the output of process second is transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. Further, the stock in process is valued at prime cost. Finished stock is valued at the price at which it is received from process second. So it means they are following the FIFO approach. Further, the sales during the period is 1,40,000. Prepare process account, finished goods account, showing the profit element at each stage. Yes, Mr. Kohli. So let's start, guys. So herein, three columns are prepared in the debit side as well as credit side. That is the cost amount, the profit amount, and the total. Yes, we can say, Harsh. So let's start, guys. To opening stock, wherein the cost is given, that is 7,500. Since it is the first process, so no profit is involved. Material is given, that is 15,000. Wages is given, that is 11,200. Since the closing stock is valued at prime, since the closing stock is valued at prime cost, so we'll be calculating the total of opening stock, wages, and material. So we are getting 7,500 plus 15,000 plus 11,200. So 33,700 is the prime cost. In this we will deduct closing stock. Alternatively, you can show closing stock on the credit side of the process account. Both the approaches are correct. So 3,700 will be deducted. So 30,000 and 30,000. In this, we will add factory overheads. That is 3,700. Sorry, factory overheads are 10,500. To get the total cost, that is 40,500 dash 40,500. This is my total cost. Now, by process second account, wherein this amount will always remain same, that is the total cost part, that is 40,500. Now herein, the output is transferred. The output of process first is transferred to process second at 25% profit on transfer price. 25% profit on transfer price. So let's assume transfer price is 100. My profit is 25. So how much will be cost? That is 75. So we'll get the final amount that is in the total column as 40,500 is the total cost. The cost is equals to 75. So how much will be 100? That will be the sale value. That is 40,500 divided by 75 into 100. That is 54,000. So this 54,000 will be recorded here. And the total profit will be in this process is 13,500. That is the profit that we have calculated. And 13,500 is the profit that we will record here. This represents the balancing figure and balancing figure. So this is how process first account is prepared, wherein the profit is involved when the output is transferred to the next process. So if you guys have any doubts, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries. Very good, Hitesh Jain. I'll be raising this part because of space constraint. So if you guys have any queries in this account, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. This is 54,000. Akash Neil, this is 54,000, not 54,500. And about the calculation of 54,000, 40,500 is the total cost divided by 75%. Ritika Verma, Aditya, Tanishka, Yogita, any doubts? Rajiv Das. Yes, Pooja, I'll be covering the valuation of work in progress in detail. We have one more session. Virali, this profit is 54,000 minus 40,500. So guys, let's start with process second account. Wherein we'll write we'll start with the opening work in progress, that is opening stock. Now, since it is process second, that is the output of process first is transferred to process second at cost plus profit. So there will be some profit element in opening stock also, and it is given also. So the total amount is 9,000. The profit that is involved in opening stock is 1,500. So the final value that is in the cost is 7,500. So this is the opening stock plus the amount, the units that are received from process first. We have already calculated, that is 40,500 and 54,000. So this is 13,500. So let's start with the remaining part, that is to material. It is given 15,750. Wages is also given, that is 11,250. You'll be getting the prime cost, that will be 75,000, 15,000 and 90,000. Now the closing stock is given in the question, that is 4,500. So we'll subtract the closing stock. That is 4,500. Now very important part, guys. We have to reduce the proportionate profit also. Herein in this question, it is given that stock in process is valued at prime cost. Stock in process is valued at prime cost. So we have already calculated the prime cost, and that is 75,000, 15,000 is the profit, and 90,000 is the selling price. Now closing stock is 4,500. So we will reduce the proportionate profit also. That is 15,000 is the profit on 90,000. So how much will be the profit on 4,500? $750. So the proportionate profit will also be reduced. Why we have done this? Because it is given in the question that closing stock is valued at prime cost. So my prime cost is 75, 15 and 90. So this 15,000 is for 90,000. So how much will be for 4,500? So this is how we have calculated 750. So 4,500 minus 750, that is 3,750. So you'll get the final value, that is 85,500, 14,250 and 71,250. Now we will add manufacturing overheads, that is given in the question, factory overheads. To calculate the total cost, the factory overheads are 4,500. So we'll calculate the total cost now. We'll get the total cost, that will be 90,000, 14,250, and this is the total cost till date of process first and process second, and that is 75,750. This is the actual cost, that is the cost of process first plus process second. So when talking about the value that is to be transferred to finished stock account, this 75,750 will always remain same, that is the cost of the company till date. When talking about the calculation of total part, this will be calculated on 90,000, because when talking about the cost plus transfer price till date, this is 90,000. Now it is given that the output of process second is to be transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. 20% profit on transfer price. So this 90,000 is equals to 80%. So how much will be 100? 1,12,500 and the profit will be 1,12,500 minus 75,750, that is 36,750. So we'll calculate the profit also. $22,500, that is the balancing figure. So this is all what about process second account. So if you guys have any doubts till now, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. It will always be given, Jyoti. Anita, 1,500 is the profit that is included in the opening stock, my dear. So waiting for your queries, guys. Take your time. Those who have queries can please post the queries. This 1,12,500 will always be calculated on this value, that is the total cost plus the profit till date. Very good, Tanishka. Anyone else having any doubts? Those who want to copy this statement can please copy. It is 20% profit on transfer price. So assuming transfer price is 100, that is the selling price is 100. So my cost will be how much? Profit is how much? Profit is 20% on transfer price, that is 20% of 100. So my cost will be how much? Selling price is 100. Profit is 20. So my cost will be 80. That is 100 minus 20. That will be 80. So 90,000 is my cost till date divided by 80 into 100. I hope, Madhuri, your doubt is resolved. I repeat again, it is 20% profit on transfer price. So selling price is 100. 20 is my profit. So how much will be the cost? Selling price minus profit, cost will be 80. It is given in the question, Pooja. Pooja and Milton Kumar, it is given in the question that inter-process profit included in opening stock is 1,500. Rajiv Kumar Das, sir, stock in process is valued at prime cost. Please explain the stock in process once again. See, Rajiv, this is till now we have got the prime cost, that is material plus labor plus opening stock. So this is how we have got the prime cost. That is 75,000, 15,000 and 90,000. Now they are saying that 4,500 is the closing stock. So we have deducted 4,500. Now we have to adjust the proportionate profit and the proportionate cost. So herein we have to reduce the profit element also. So we can say 15,000 is the profit that is on 90,000. So how much will be the profit on 4,500? Very simple, 750. So now we are getting we have got the cost profit figure also 750. So we can easily calculate the cost also. Alternatively, when talking about the cost, you can use the similar approach, that is 75,000 is the cost. No, it's better that you can solve it in this way only. There are many ways also, but again, it will create confusion. So in simple terms, since we have reduced 4,500 from the statement as closing stock, the proportionate profit that is involved in the closing stock will also be reduced. So when talking about the calculation of proportionate profit, 15,000 is the profit on 90,000. So how much is the proportionate profit on 4,500? Very simple, 750, that will be reduced. Mantanjali, 15,000 is the proportionate profit on 90,000. So how much will be the proportionate profit on 4,500? 750. Akash Neil, can you please elaborate your query? I'm not getting what you are asking. Rekha, that approach is incorrect because this 75750 is the cost. That is the actual cost of process first and process second. Wherein in this question, it is given that the output of process second is to be transferred to finished stock at 20% profit on transfer price. It means what? It includes 25% of the profit from process first and 20% profit from the process second. That's why I have taken it 90,000 for the calculation of transfer price, that is 1,12,500. I hope your query is resolved. Manthanjali, Rajiv Kumar Das, Rekha, Milton Kumar, Ankur Patel, Pooja. Waiting for your queries, guys. Manthanjali, it is given in the question 1500. Just check the question. It is given that inter-process profit included in opening stock, that is 1500. Yes, Madhuri, it is the selling price, my dear. Pooja, yes, you can write closing stock on the credit side. Both the approaches are correct. Still waiting for your queries, guys. Pooja, I have written closing stock in process first also. So guys, now let's start with the finished stock account, wherein the amount that is received from process second is 75750, 36,750 is the profit, and the total amount is 1,12,500. Plus opening stock is also given. Opening stock is also given, and that is 22,500 is the opening stock. 8,250 is the inter-process profit. So the cost will be 14,250. So the total amount will be 90,000. 45,000. 1,35,000. Now we will deduct the closing stock. Now, very important, guys, in process first and process second, the closing stock was valued at prime cost. But very important in this question, it is given finished stock is valued at the price at which it is received from process second. I repeat again, finished stock, that is the closing stock, is valued at the price at which it is received from process second. That is, finished stock is valued at this price. They have used FIFO method. So here in the closing stock that is left out is from the units that are received from process second and not from the opening stock. So when talking about the calculation of profit element, we will not be using these figures, but we will be using these figures to calculate the proportionate profit. Further, it is given in the question that the closing stock is 11,250. So when talking about the calculation of profit part, 36,750 If you guys have any queries in this calculation, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, else we'll finish and wind up this question. Admin sir, please check, are there any connectivity issues? Because 3 to I've just got your message. Am I audible and visible to all? Am I audible and visible to all? So guys, now let's finish up this question by cost of sales, or we can say we can simply write by income state, I mean by costing P&L. Both the approaches are correct. So by costing P&L, the total cost is 82425 till date. Further, it is given in the question that the output was sold at the rate for 1,40,000. So you'll get the total profit, that is 1,40,000 minus 82425. That is 57575 is the total profit So the balance amount that is to be transferred on the debit side will be 16,250. The question is over. If you guys have any queries, you guys can post it. Okay, Tanishka, I'll just check it out. Yogita Kumar Devda, sir, why we subtract the closing stock profit? My dear, since this finished stock account has 3 columns, that is cost, profit and total. So if we are reducing the total amount, we have to reduce the proportionate profit and the proportionate cost. That's why I'm reducing it on the debit side. Alternatively, instead of reducing, you can simply show it on the credit side also. Both the approaches are correct. The 16,250 is the balancing figure. That is 57575 minus 41,325. This is the balancing figure. 1,40,000 minus 123,750 or 57575 minus 41,325. So this is the balancing figure. Yes, we are coming to this part. Next part, that is work in progress only, Jyoti, don't worry. Thank you, Tanishka. Anyone else having any queries? Why I have calculated the profit as per this amount? Because it is given that the closing stock is, the finished stock is valued, the closing stock of finished goods is valued at the goods that are received from process second. So the value, these are that, this represents the value that is received from process second. So accordingly, we have calculated the profit part. Rafika Mehman, it is given in the question. 1,40,000 is the sales amount that is given in the question. Rajiv Kumar, Mantanjali, Akash Neel, Jyoti, any other doubts, queries? Madhuri? Yashashri, Pooja, Ritika, any doubts? So guys, we are done with the question on inter-process profit. This question covers each and everything in detail. So this question is more than sufficient if you are preparing for your exams. So we are done with the inter-process profit part. Now we will move towards the next part of the chapter, that is valuation of work in progress. But before that, let's take a break of 10 minutes and then we'll start with the valuation part of work in progress. In the meanwhile, those who have any queries till now can post it. After the break, I'll check all your queries and then we'll start with the valuation of work in progress. So admin sir, let's take a break of 10 minutes. Admin sir? Admin sir? Admin sir, are you there? No worries guys, let's take a break of 10 minutes and then we'll start with the work in progress part. Welcome back, guys, after a break. So now, guys, let's start with the last part of the chapter, last but not least, most important part of the chapter, that is valuation of work in progress. I'm just checking the queries. Prema, Joy, Clara, when talking about the profit on opening stock, it is given in the question. And talking about the profit on finished stock, we have calculated and I have shown the necessary calculations. So let's proceed further with the next part of the chapter, that is work in progress. Now, guys, till now we discussed that whatever the output is of a particular process, that is to be transferred to the next process. So we were making input in a particular process, we were getting output. Now, let's take a situation wherein we are making an input of 10,000 units, wherein we are receiving two types of output, that is 8,000 units are 100% complete and transferred to next process, and 2,000 units are there which are 60% complete. So earlier, whatever the inputs we were making, we were calculating the output, and that entire output is transferred to the next process. But what if in case, if certain percentage or if certain units remain unfinished by the year end? So my point is, what about these unfinished units? What will be the value of these unfinished units? That is a big question. Because as far as talking about in units, it's very easy to identify that how much units are 100% complete and how much units are semi-finished or incomplete. But when talking about the value, the major question is how to calculate the value of these unfinished units. So my point is, what is work in progress or what is unfinished goods? The units that have started for production but not completed by year end are work in progress. So what is work in progress? Very simple. Unit started with production process but not complete, but remain unfinished by year end is work in progress. When talking about the valuation part, we'll be discussing the concept of equivalent production. So I repeat again, अब तक जो हमने क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस किए थे या कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्कस किए थे कि जो भी इनपुट हम लोग करते हैं पर्टिकुलर प्रोसेस में, that is completed, the finished goods are ready and they are transferred to next process. But now let's take a different scenario wherein the total input was made during the year is 10,000 units. Out of this 10,000 units, 8,000 units were finished and transferred to the next process. But the 2,000 units are still in process. Certain activities in relation to material, labor are still to be done on these units. So my point is, how to value these units that are in process. As far as finished goods, we can easily value. We have discussed the same, but my point is how to value these units that are still in process. So here in the concept of equivalent production or equivalent units comes into picture. I'll be discussing this concept in detail. So those who want to copy this part, that is what is work in progress, units started but remain unfinished by the year end or incomplete by the year end are work in progress. Sir, Edwin sir, are there any connectivity issues? Okay. So now, when talking about the valuation, we'll be discussing the concept of equivalent number of units. Now, let's say the input made was to 10,000 units and the total cost that was incurred was 1 lakh. The total inputs that were made during the year is 10,000 units and the total cost that is incurred is 1 lakh rupees. Now the output is, let's assume 10,000 units only. Let's assume that the output is also 10,000 units. So in this case, we can easily calculate the cost. That is, the cost per unit will be how much? Very simple, 1 lakh divided by the total output, that is 10,000 units. So it is rupees 10 per unit. So that's what we did till now. That is the total cost divided by the effective units, or we can say the expected output. That is 1 lakh divided by 10,000. That is rupees 10 per unit. ये अब तक हम लोगों ने सीखा है. Now, let's take a situation wherein these units are 60% complete. If these units are 60% complete, we can simply say rupees 10 per unit is the cost for 100% completed units. So what will be the cost of 60% completed unit? Very simple. 10 into 60%, that is rupees 6 per unit. If these units are 40% complete, we can easily say 10 into 40%, that is rupees 4 per unit. Now, this is a very simple example wherein we are able to calculate the cost of units that are 100% complete. And if these units are 60% complete, we can easily calculate the cost. If these units are 100% complete, we can easily calculate, 40% complete, we can easily calculate the cost. Now, let's take one different situation, one more situation, wherein let's say the total cost incurred is, let's say, rupees 1,50,000. The total cost incurred till date is 1,50,000. Now, after making an input, we are getting 3 types of output, that is 3 category of finished goods. Wherein we are getting 5,000 units as output, which is 100% complete. 3,000 units of output, that is 70% complete, and 2,000 units of output, that is 20% complete. I repeat again, guys, we have made an input of total 10,000 units. Wherein we have got the output as follows. That is 5,000 units are 100% complete and they are transferred to the next process. 3,000 units are still in process and they are 70% completed till now. 2,000 units are again still in process and they are 20% complete. Now my point is how to calculate the value of these 2 units and these 3 units, and apart from this, how to calculate the cost per unit. That is a big question. I repeat again, there is an input made of 10,000 units and the cost is 1,50,000. Further, when talking about the output, 3 categories of outputs we were getting. wherein 5,000 units we were getting were 100% complete, 3,000 units what we were getting were 70% complete, and 2,000 units what we were getting were 20% complete. So my point is how to calculate the cost per unit plus the cost of these three categories of output. So herein the concept of equivalent production comes into picture, wherein we'll calculate the equivalent number of units. How come 5,000 units, they are 100% complete, so we can say it is 5,000 units. 3,000 units that are 70% complete, we can say the equivalent number of units will be how much? 2,100. Now what it means? What this 2,100 means? It means whatever the cost that are incurred for 2,100 units that are 100% complete will be equal to 3,000 units which are 70% complete. So we are converting each and every category of units into 100%. The cost will be the same. That is the cost that is incurred for 2,100 units that are 100% complete will be equal to 3,000 units that are 70% complete. So further in this case, 2,000 into 20%, that is 400. So now we'll calculate the total equivalent number of units, that is 5,000 plus 2,100 plus 400. So this is 7,500 units which are 100% complete. Now we can easily calculate the cost. Total cost is 1,50,000 divided by 7,500 units. Cost per unit. So the total cost per unit will be 1,50,000 divided by 7,500. That is rupees 20 per unit. This cost rupees 20 per unit is the cost of units that are 100% complete. So now we have got the cost of the units that are 100% complete, that is rupees 20 per unit. So we can easily calculate the cost of units that are 70% complete, that is 20 into 70%, that is 14. Further, we can calculate the cost of these 2,000 units which are 20% complete. So that is 20 into 20%, that is rupees 4 per unit. So now when talking about the total value of these output, these 5,000 units will be how much? 5,000 units that are 100% complete. So the cost will be 5,000 into 20. That is 1 lakh. These 3,000 units are 70% complete. So these 3,000 into the 70% cost is 14. So 3,000 into 14. So this will be 42,000. And 2,000 units, the cost per unit we have already calculated, that is rupees 2 per unit. So this will be, rupees 4. So this will be 8,000. So this is how 1,50,000 is distributed among these three outputs. As I said, guys, the concept of equivalent number, as I said in concept of equivalent number of units, the cost that is incurred for 3,000 units that are 70% complete, 3,000 units that are 70% complete will be equal to 2,100 units that are 100% complete. So let's check it out also. These 3,000 units, it is 70% completed, that the cost is 42,000. Alternatively, we can say 2,100 units are 100% complete. So the cost of 100% completed unit is 20 rupees. So this is also 42,000. So my point is, when the units are unfinished or still in process, first we will calculate the equivalent number of units. Thereafter, we'll calculate the cost per unit, that is rupees 20 per unit we have calculated. Now, there are two ways to calculate the value of closing stock, wherein the first way is either calculate the revised cost per unit, wherein the units that are 70% complete, the cost will be 20 into 70%, that is rupees 14 per unit, 20 into 20%, that is rupees 4 per unit. So we can directly multiply 3000 into 14, that is 42,000, 2000 into 4, that is 8,000. So this is the way we can calculate. Alternatively, in this case also, wherein 5,000 units that are 100% completed is 5,000 into 20, 1 lakh. Second is 2,100 units that are 100% complete, so 2,100 into 20, that is 42,000. And 400 units, that is the equivalent number of units, 400, which are 100% complete, that is 8,000. So both these approaches are correct. Kaan seedha pakdo ya ghuma ke pakdo, answer is going to be the same only. So this is all what about the concept of equivalent number of units. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. Ayush Agarwal, it depends upon the management, the experience and the estimates only. Anyone else having any queries? Rajiv Kumar Das, Shivani, Mantanjali, Harsh, Vikas Bansal, Tanishka, Virali, Rafika, Akash Neel, Himanshu, Yogita, any doubts? Those who want to copy this explanation can please copy. When talking about work in progress, very simple, unit started but not completed by year end. Ab tak jo humne discuss kiya tha, wherein there was there was no point as regards work in progress. We were making an input, after normal loss or abnormal gain, we were getting the output, and that output was 100% complete. So it was very easy for us to value the output. But what if in case if we have left out with certain stock which is semi-finished or semi-complete or incomplete? So here in this case, it is called as work in progress. When talking about valuation of work in progress, the concept of equivalent number of units will come into the picture, wherein what is the concept of equivalent number of units I have discussed. So if you guys have any conceptual queries, you guys can ask me. Waiting for your queries, guys. As I said, Madhuri, you can solve the question in any of the ways. Either calculate the cost per unit separately and then multiply it by the number of units, or you can simply calculate the cost of 100% unit and you can multiply it by equivalent number of units. These are equivalent units. It's not tricky, Tanishka. Yeah, Pooja, you can please copy. Poonam Sharma, everything will be given in the question. Don't worry. Yes, Vikas Bansal, I'll be discussing this part also. Varun, but I'll be discussing FIFO and weighted average method. Still, it is not yet completed. That's true, Tanishka. Thank you, Ramakrishna. I hope, Pooja, you have copied this part. So, guys, now let's start with the question of my material, that is concept of equivalent production. The question is not there in the study material. So I request you guys to please open slide number 15 of the material what I have provided. That is concept of equivalent production. I request you guys to please open the notes what I have provided. It is on the page number 15 of the notes what I have provided. That is concept of equivalent production. So now the concept of equivalent production, I'm discussing an illustration. The same illustration is not there in the material, so please refer my notes. So the inputs made is 10,000 units. The material is 49,000, labor is 19,200, overheads are 28,800, units transferred to the next process is 9,000, closing work in progress is 1,000 units, which is 80% completed in respect of material and 60% completed in case of labor and overheads. You are required to prepare the statement of equivalent production and calculate the value of units transferred and closing work in progress. So now let's discuss the concept of equivalent number of units in a systematic way. That is how you have to present in exams. So let's start, guys. So the same thing we will start with, that is process account. So the input made is 10,000 units, so two material. $10,000 units, and the cost is 49,000. Labor is 19,200, so two labor. Overheads are 28,800, so two overheads. There is no normal loss, and abnormal gain. It is given that the output that is transferred to the next process, that is process second, is 9,000 units, and they are 100% complete. As far as there is work in progress, closing work in progress, which is 1,000 units. Now, in the last example, last explanation, we discussed that there were closing work in progress and they were 40% or 50% or 80% complete. But herein, they have given the detailed breakup also, wherein the material is completed up to 80% and where the labor and overheads are given completed up to 60%. So we will calculate the equivalent number of units separately for material, labor and overheads. I repeat again, the input made was 10,000 units. Out of this, 9,000 units were transferred to the next process, which were 100% complete. The remaining 1,000 units are still in process. In respect of material, they are 80% complete, and in respect of labor and overheads, they are 60% complete. Further, in the last illustration, what I have taken, it was only the total cost that was given. Herein, the costs are given separately, that is material, labor, and overheads. Apart from this, the percentage of completion of material, labor, and overheads is different. So now we'll prepare the statement of equivalent number of units to calculate the cost per unit, and further, the major headache, that is what will be the value of units that are transferred to the next process and closing work in progress. So guys, let's start with the statement of equivalent number of units. I repeat again, guys, in the last illustration, last example, what I have taken, there was only the total cost that was given. So in this question, 3 types of costs are given. Further, the material is completed up to 80%, labor and overheads are completed up till 60%. So that will, for this also, the equivalent number of units will be separately calculated. So let's start, guys, with the calculation one by one, wherein we will present, when talking about examination point of view, we have to calculate the equivalent number of units in a systematic way. So let's see how to present the same. Statement of equivalent production. It's a very simple statement wherein particulars, the total number of units, further, there are 3 types of cost, that is material, labor, and overhead. So material. Now, in this question, the percentage of completion of labor and overhead is 60%, that is the same. If in this question, if the percentage of completion of material, labor, and overhead was the same, it was very easy for us to calculate. But herein in this question, it is different. So we'll prepare the separate column for material and single column for labor and overheads, because the percentage of completion of labor and overhead is the same. So guys, let's start. Now see, there are 2 parts. That is, first one is the 9,000 units, that are units transferred, that is 9,000 units. Since these units are transferred to the next process, so we'll assume that they are 100% complete. So it is 100%. So equivalent number of units in case of material will also be 9,000. In case of labor and overheads also will be 9,000. But when talking about closing work in progress, total number of units are 1,000. When talking about the percentage of completion, it is given in the question that in respect of material, 80% of the work was complete. So it means what? 800 is the equivalent number of units. And in case of labor, 60%, that is 600 is the equivalent number of units. So now we have got the equivalent number of units, that is 9,800 and 9,600. These 9,800 and 9,600 units represent the units that are 100% processed in case of material, and 9,600 units represents 100% units that are processed in case of labor and overheads. Now, the next part, that is calculation of cost per unit. Now, total material cost is how much? 49,000. The equivalent number of units, that is 9,000 units that are transferred to the next process, are 100% complete, and 1,000 units that are 80% complete, so 800 units. So this is how I got 9,800. So 49,000 is the cost incurred on 9,800 units that are 100% complete. So we can easily calculate the cost per unit, that is rupees 5 per unit. Similarly, for labor, the cost is 19,200 divided by 9,600 units that are 100% complete. So 19,200 divided by 9,600 units. So this will be rupees 2 per unit. Overheads 28,800 divided by equivalent number of units. Why I have prepared labor and overheads together? Because the percentage of completion is the same. So no need to do extra exercise and waste time. So 28,800 divided by 9,600, that is rupees 3 per unit. So now we are done with the calculation of total cost, that is rupees 10 per unit for the units that are 100% complete. Now we have got the cost of the units that are 100% complete. So we can easily value units transferred, that is 9,000 units into the cost per unit, that is 10. So this will be 90,000. When talking about the calculation of work in progress, two approaches are possible as I have discussed. Let's first calculate the cost per unit of work in progress, wherein the material is for 100% completed unit is rupees 5, and the material is processed up to 80%. So 4. In case of labor, the cost of 100% completed unit is rupees 2, and they are completed up to 60%. So this will be 1.2. And in case of overheads, the cost is 3 rupees per unit for 100% completed unit. So for 60% completed unit, it will be 1.8. So the total cost will be 7 per unit. So now the output is 1,000 into 7. So this will be 7,000. So this will be 90,000. And this will be 7. Alternatively, we can also calculate as that 800 in case of material, cost, the equivalent number of units, 800 units that are 100% complete, and the cost of 100% completed units in case of material is 5. In case of labor, 600 units are 100% complete. So 600 into 2. And in case of overheads, 600 units that are 100% complete. So this is how we'll get 7,000. So both these approaches are correct. When talking about my opinion, you can use this approach because this will save time to calculate the cost per unit of work in progress. You can directly calculate, once this cost per unit is calculated, you can directly calculate the value of work in progress. It will save time to do all this exercise. So this is all what about the basic concepts of work in progress. If you guys have any doubts, the conceptual doubts, you guys can ask me. Very good, Hitesh Jain. So now we have enough of time for your queries about the basic concepts of work in progress. You guys can ask me any conceptual queries. If you need more explanation also, I'm there to help you out. I just want that by the end of this session, you guys should be thorough with how to present and how to calculate the value of work in progress. So you guys should be conceptually clear for the same. So whatever the queries you have, you guys can please post. And apart from this, those who want to copy the solution can please copy this part. Waiting for your queries. I'll be addressing all your queries one by one. Rajiv Kumar Das, Tanishka, Poonam, Mantanjali. तनिष्का अग्रवाल कम और ज्यादा नहीं होता है. It's either yes or no. You're doing CA, you're not writing college paper. So you should be crystal clear and thorough with the concept. If you have any conceptual query, you can ask me, Tanishka. This approach, I suggest you guys to follow this approach, because this approach will save time. Thank you so much, Miss Gosavi, Mr. Gosavi. I'm waiting for your queries, guys. Hitesh Jain, Pooja, Varun, Vikas, Ramakrishna, Mantanjali, Rafika, Madhuri, Shivani, Ritika, Nidhi. That's good, Tanishka. This is the way you have to present the solution in exams. This method is useful and it is recommended, guys, because it will save time. Both the approaches are correct, but still, this is recommended. Anyone else having any queries? Jyoti Vader, I'll be discussing the concept of FIFO and weighted average method in detail. Don't worry. These are the basic concepts I want you to be thorough with before starting with FIFO and weighted average. Let's go step by step. Don't rush. Thank you so much, Mantanjali. Yes, you need to practice a lot for the same. I hope you guys are done with the copying part. Let me check, guys, you are thorough with the concept or not. So I'm giving you guys a question, solve it. wherein the material cost is 1,20,000, labor is 90,000, overheads are 60,000, input was total 12,000 units, 3,000 units transferred were 9,000. Closing work in progress is 3,000 units. As far as completion is concerned, material is 100% complete. Labor is 80% complete. And overheads are 60% complete. Calculate the amount, calculate the value of 12,000, calculate the value of 9,000 units and 3,000 units. Waiting for your answers, guys. There is a question for you wherein the material cost is 1,20,000, the labor cost is 90,000, the overheads are 60,000, the total input made is 12,000 units, units transferred are 9,000 units, and the closing work in progress is 3,000 units, which are 100% complete in respect of material. In case of labor, it is 80%, and in case of overheads, it is 60%. So be quick, guys, waiting for your answers. Let's see who are thorough with the concepts. And let's see who answers first. In the meanwhile, I will also solve this question. Waiting for your answers, guys. No, sir. The live question is going on, sir. Wait for some time. No, waiting for the answers. Waiting for your answers, guys. I'm done with the solving part. Hitesh Jain, material is correct, but labor and overheads are incorrect. Hitesh Jain, your answer is not correct, my dear. Please check your solution. Please check your cost per unit of labor and overheads. The overhead amount is 60,000. Still waiting for your answers, guys. I've got answer from Shivam Singh. Let me check, Shivam. Still waiting for the correct answer. Guys, let me know what will be the cost per unit. If you are able to calculate these three figures, you can easily calculate the cost. You have to divide by equivalent number of units. What is the cost per unit you guys have calculated? Ramakrishna, please check your labor cost. It is incorrect, my dear. What is the total cost per unit, guys? Ankit Gupta, your answer is correct. I've got answer of cost per unit from Ankit Gupta. Your answer is correct, Ankit. Pooja, very good. Your answer is correct. Poonam Sharma, please check the question. The labor is overhead is complete up to 60%, not 80%. Please recheck your answer. Shrinjani Sinha, very good. Your answer is correct. Manthanjali, yes, your answer is correct. Ramakrishna, please recheck your calculation. Ramakrishna, please recheck your calculation, my dear. Ankur Patel, I request you to please recheck your calculation. Guys, when talking about labor, it is 80% complete, and when talking about overheads, it is 60% only completed. Pooja, very good. Your answer is correct. Pooja Dayaram. Incorrect answer, Kushia Sahu. Manthanjali, yes, your answer is correct. Tanishka, your answer is correct. Shivam Singh, your answer is correct. Rajiv Kumar Das is still waiting for your answer. Why you are taking so much of time? So this is the way to solve the question. The question was very easy. What I have changed is that the percentage of completion of labor and overheads were different. Let me check who are able to solve. Ritika Verma, please recheck your answer. Ramakrishna, please recheck your answer. Ritika Verma, your answer is incorrect. This is 5.55 for labor. No, sorry, for overheads. Thank you, Srinjani Sinha. Thank you, Chetra Heber. No worries, Mr. Ramakrishna. You got the answer, Rajiv Kumar. Very good, Himashri. Very good, Ritika. Your answer is correct now. Okay, Vikas. When talking about work in progress, valuation of work in progress, when talking about material, it is 3,000. So 3,000 into 10. Labor is 2,400 into 7.89. And overheads are equal in number of units is 1,800 into 5.55. So this will be the total value of work in progress, that is closing work in progress. It is 9,000 only. I've written it by mistake. Yes, Ramakrishna. Yes, Rafika, I have received your answer. Your answer was correct, Rafika. Very good, Varun. Very good, Pooja. So I hope you guys are thorough with the concept of equivalent number of units now, wherein we discussed how to calculate the equivalent number of units, how to calculate the cost per unit, how to calculate the value of finished output, and apart from this, how to value work in progress, wherein we have taken directly the figures from the equivalent production statement only. No need to calculate the cost per unit of work in progress. It will anyways going to save your time if you solve in this way. No worries, Kaveri. So this is the best approach to solve the question. It will save your time, guys. So guys, done with the session today. It's already 9:45. Since I need to cover this basic concept in detail, so I have taken your extra 15 minutes. So guys, now we are done with the conceptual part of valuation of work in progress. Now in the next session, we'll be discussing two methods. If in case opening work in progress is also given, right now we are making an input and we are getting the output and the closing work in progress. So in the next session, what if in case opening work in progress is given? What if in case normal loss is given, abnormal loss is given, and abnormal gain is given? So all these concepts we will be discussing in the next session in detail. So till then, do take care of yourself, revise what I have discussed till now, and that's it. So thank you so much for your time and patience. Thank you so much for participating in the session and solving the questions. So that's it for the day. Thank you so much. Take care and enjoy your day. Thank you. Sir, we are done. कहीं कहीं कुछ डन ना, आप ऑफलाइन हो गए ना?